cooperate and work together. Does that sound good? So grab food, find a spot, and let's watch the video. That's the plan. And one more thing. We do have a up-and-coming rising blogger here with us, Ed. So he will be taking...
Millions and millions of people living in a nightmare may seem more desirable and reliable. This is what leaders and supporters of military escalation in many regions of the planet are striving for. The Middle East is on fire again. The bloody events of October 7, 2023 shook the whole world.
I want to mention just few main things for this great victory in this spiritual war of grace. Repent and turn back, that your sins may be blotted out, the tide of refreshing may come from the presence of the Lord, and that He may send the Messiah. Is very important for whole body of Messiah, for all believers, because restorations began hundreds ago, but we need to finish this and to make this restoration complete.
War history continues to build in North Korea.
우리 핵무력의 이번 참여는 전쟁을 목재함에 있지만
human resource development must be most important to develop. There are no mention about size of territory like Russia, number of population like China, natural resource like Saudi Arabia. 8 key success factors are only related with the human resource under strong leadership, right to the people, but also implementing impossible dream and bold strategy.
The large-scale bloody Russian-Ukrainian war in southeastern Europe doesn't stop for a day. The world is in relative global balance due to the economic and military power of the United States. But the leadership and unifying role of this superpower might not have stood the test of time if it were not based on human-centric values and strict political principles.
I am very proud of the people of Ukraine and how they have excelled in fending off the invasion of a powerful and aggressive neighboring country. Ukraine deserves to have the country's borders respected by all other countries in the world. Ukraine is a welcome addition to the vast group of democratic nations of the world and deserves the world's respect as a sovereign nation. The strength of Ukraine, its people, its natural resources, its military, all help to make the other democratic countries even stronger as we cooperate together to face the many threats to democracy around the world.
The war in Ukraine forced the world to recognize the importance of peace, universal values, as well as the spirit and ideals of democracy. But this is precisely what Christians around the globe have always been talking about. They were the first to sound the alarm and the first to arrive in the disaster zone.
Rus, a country governed by the Ukrainians, was formed in the 9th century and became the eastern flank of European civilization, taking on all the blows of the Asian world. What gives us the strength to survive in this constantly turbulent zone of Eurasia?
Behind all evident events, there is a spiritual realm invisible to our human eyes. It was spiritual events that significantly influenced the country's history. Ukrainians, authentic people of Kiev Rus, freed themselves from pagan slavery by adopting Christianity. More than 1,000 years ago, our ancestors longed for the freedom that Christ gave us. This resolve and rejection of enslavement became part of the spiritual DNA of our people.
Тут Rus is in Ukraine. If they lose Ukraine, they lose their historical roots without which they cannot exist. They should then begin their history with the 14th and 15th centuries. And where has the Russian land come from? It is from here, from Kiev, Volodymyr the Baptist. Everything is here.
The gospel is being proclaimed in our lands for 10 centuries, and since the end of the 10th century, when Prince Volodymyr baptized Rus, the gospel that is being preached and the word of God is valuable for our people. Right from this place, from these ancient hills, missionaries carried the light of Christ's faith deep into Eurasia, beyond the Ural Mountains, to Siberia, the Far East, to Asia, both in ancient times and in modern history.
Being larger in size than countries like Georgia or Armenia or all the Baltic countries, it is Ukraine, both in ancient times and the colonial period, and especially during the persecution of Christians in the 20th century, has remained a real outpost of the Christian faith in the land of Eurasia, where so much blood was shed.
We brought spiritual enlightenment to our territory and deep into the Euro-Asian continent, from Mikhail Lomonosov and thousands of representatives of the clergy elite of Muscovy, who studied at the Kiev Mohyla and Ostrog Academy.
Realize new righteous acts. May faith be multiplied, because faith will overcome evil.
The Lord loves people through His church, and God will give us victory to spread His kingdom on all continents.
We are living in a time of great change, which may determine the direction of this world for hundreds of years. This is not an exaggeration, given the territorial and spiritual scope of today's events on the Euro-Asian continent. The Ukrainian Christian community, in this time of trial, in these evil days, as Ecclesiastes says, appeals to you too. Pray for Ukraine. Donate. It brings our victory closer. Visit Ukraine with a church team. Ukraine and its allies in this war are also strategic partners in the global evangelization. Let's build the new Ukraine with the glory of God and the awakening of hearts together. Let's build the new Ukraine with the glory of God and the awakening of hearts together.
Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Sorry the video was a bit longer than we thought it would be. Welcome everyone, even those that came a little bit later. I'm Pastor Leo. I do two things. I pastor a local Ukrainian Russian-speaking church, and I'm chairman of the board of directors for Hope International Ministries. We've been back in Ukraine 7 times since the war started and continue going, and we have plans to do that. But more on that later. I'd like to thank Insightful Living for providing this space, and especially to Victor Aktorov and their organization, FEBC. And I'd like to turn over to him to welcome us and share a little bit about what they do. And then we'll go around the table and 1 to 2 minute presentation of who you are and what you do and why you're here. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll show you how to do it. You know, you'd be like me, only shorter. So we are with FEBC. And we've been broadcasting the gospel to the former Soviet Union since 1945. I was a little child at that time, but we built the first radio station in the post-Soviet world, and now we operate 10 stations in Ukraine. And of course, God is using us in amazing ways. I just came from Ukraine. We went there for a few days, and we went on the tower. It was amazing to see this little transmitter, and I know how many people respond as they listen to the message. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of people responding every month. Dozens and dozens of averted, prevented suicides. We have so many people who are listening in the trenches as they are fighting, people who are refugees, and that's half of the country, people who have been displaced and living in different cities right now. We have special ministry to the widows, people who lost and their children, orphans. It's amazing to see what God is doing and can do through media, and that's where we are. And so good to have all of you here. I know we all have different aspects of the ministry and different types of interest in Ukraine. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And I think together we can be able to not only bring the victory in Ukraine a little closer, that would be great, but also help the people of Ukraine. And it is on my heart to help the people of Ukraine not just bring the victory as they defend their country, but also come closer to Christ. That's the passion in my heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go around, sir.
So now you will ask.
Oh, okay. So that was
One,
three.
2 minutes, please.
Okay. So I'm Nick Skalk. I'm originally I was born in Southern Kenya. So I live here. I'm ordained minister. I'm a journalist and a musician. That's it. I'm running a radio station, which is not a Christian radio station, but it's a station with Christian values. We address non-believers mostly. So we don't really talk about the Bible, but we addressing world issues from the Christian perspective, which is a little bit different. And I also had a book about Putin that I wrote when the war started, explaining American conservatives what really Putin is and what he's after and everything. I was involved there, and I've met him personally in different ways. I've met personally probably like 75% of all the actors in Russian politics, who's now in like big names in Putin's and in opposition circles. So I have some extra knowledge in that. So.
And now you're based where?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
I missed it. I teach English and Bible study to a Romanian orphanage. We just started that program less than a year ago. We're talking about trying to get started in teaching short Bible study to a children's rehabilitation center in Ukraine. So we hope to get that started in the near future. I've also been involved in China, and I do a Bible study in China via Zoom as well. So I guess I'm a Bible study Zoomer. I'll turn it over to Ken to tell me more about his book.
Based in Dallas, I focus on East Asia. But the past 3 years, we have been helping Eastern Europe, Romania, and Ukraine. Myself as an architect, I get a little pride in your church. I worked on the ceiling when I was with the previous architecture firm. So a little pride in that part. But I'm very proud of met some of the lot of leaders that's in the video that was here last year. We helped. I have Pastor Leo host the delegation that was here. So when Pastor Leo picked the phone, I just jumped everything. But our heart is children, orphans in Ukraine, and we will do what we can, just a little bit of what we can. We will make a little impact, do what we can to the team. We have shipped over 3 containers so far, and the 4th container is ready to go. We're just collecting funding to ship it. It's mainly to provide the needs. We focus in northern part of Romania, the Chernivtsi area. So we're It's been a pleasure to serve with Bethlehem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Tamara Belcher, and I'm president of Ukrainian Chamber. We're based in Dallas-Fort Worth area. We are kind of new organization, only 1.5 years old, and we're all about culture, diplomacy, and commerce. And our mission is to bring everyone together, because we believe that power is in unity. And it's not only bringing Ukrainians together, it's bringing all nationalities together, because only together we can be strong and we can help each other. And our organization covers culture, commerce, and we have 12 departments already, covering everything about all those things. We have Ukrainian theater, Union of Ukrainian Women, we have dancing, singing clubs, and museum, Ukrainian museum, a library, even Ukrainian marathon we're covering, Ukrainian news, and helping businesses as well all over the world. Like I said, it's very important to stay together and be united. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I'm Christy Arnell, and I'm the founder and president of Ukraine Unlimited. And how I got started in helping Ukraine is my daughter actually served a church mission, a Christian church mission in 2015, 2016. And I then began to get involved with helping Ukraine. At that point, I went back with her and visited her areas that she served in, and fell in love with Ukraine and wanted to help. So I started an organization to help the people there that were hand-making items. They were struggling to make ends meet. And so those that were wanting to be a part of that could, and where I was able to sell their things here in the United States online. And I became friends with lots of people through that, went back to Ukraine to visit more and add more artisans into that. And of course, my daughter, 2 years after getting home, she also met and married a Ukrainian. So now it's a permanent thing forever Ukraine. So, it was very personal for me when the full-scale invasion happened. I, of course, got very involved with helping immediately, jumping in and seeing who needed to get to safer areas or needed supplies or things like that. I was hooked up with another family that was working on very similar things in Western Ukraine, and their family member is at the top of the military in Ukraine, and so we started helping with the military as well. So my organization helps with the military in Ukraine. It helps with humanitarian people that are internally displaced, and so there's families and things that are coming from areas that are bombed or occupied or recently deoccupied, and they need places to be. And we're helping with that in Western Ukraine. And we also are helping with, in the city where my team is at, is a large army-based town. And so we're helping with the veterans that are coming off the front there. And so we're getting a facility going where they'll have physical therapies and mental therapies with PTSD and their families as well, and job trainings and things for them to reintegrate. We also are helping with people. I've invited Tanya to come with me. We help here locally too with anybody that is in need in the area too, that are displaced from the war, and so our organization helps with them. So it's kind of just a little bit of everything that we help with. So.
Thank you so much for all you do.
Yes. And I invited also Christina.
Can we turn
yeah.
back there? Ludmila, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is good afternoon, everybody. It is an honor for me to be here. My name is Ludmila Taran. My husband and I, we are publishing the Dallas newspaper. This is local newspaper for the local community. Both of us, we are from Ukraine. He's from Kiev. I'm from Cherkasy region. So, that is.
And you have newspapers for all of us to.
Yes, I have newspapers and Facebook.
Yeah. Please take a bunch before you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Who's next?
Vladimir Nalvaiko, founder of Christ is King Evangelical Church. We just did a soft launch about a half a year ago, focusing on Slavic people that are located in DFW area as well, working with them, bring community back and worshiping the Lord.
And where are you located?
Argyle, Texas.
Argyle, Texas. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
My name is Christina Rigby. I am the Communications Director for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the area, in the Richardson state, so that's Richardson, Dallas, Garland. Our church has always helped in humanitarian efforts, and anyways, one thing we did locally is we recently gave a large donation to Church World Services that helps with the highest of risk refugees. And so we're just glad to be invited. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Good to meet you as well.
My name is Mikhail Shevchuk, and I'm from, I don't have any organization, but I was a missionary for a long time in Ukraine and in Seattle. And right now I'm in Gateway Church, and we are building a Slavic community in Frisco and Prosper facilities. And since full invasion, we had, like my family, we help about 30 hubs in Ukraine, spiritually, psychologically, and financially.
Thank you for
It's a good translator too.
Thank you for coming as well.
Yeah, my name is Peter Pshichenko. I've been in the U.S. for 25 years, specifically in Dallas 15 years. We're mostly in South Dallas. But I'm a businessman by trade. Started that since I was a kid, basically. And we have a fleet of semi-trucks and a 14-bay shop down in Midlothian, Texas. But other than that, in 2018, we started a nonprofit called Right Away. And Ukraine was actually one of the first countries that we started to support and partner with. Vitaly Orlov is actually one of the very first projects that we started, one of the first and successful projects, I would say. We've done a lot with Suma Church throughout the years. We had 4 projects in Ukraine at the beginning, but when the war started, 2 had to move out, and we helped some of them to come here actually. We're in 12 countries right now, the nonprofit. Ukraine is just the first and the most dearest to my heart because I'm from there. I was born in Cherkasy. I know Russian more than Ukrainian, even though I've been to Ukraine multiple times now before the war. But, well, English is actually better. Yes. But I think the biggest thing that the biggest shaking that I've gotten was since COVID, when I understood that I can't just be too vague or too broad about things. If you want to see some changes done, you got to get involved. So I think that would be the biggest reason why I'm here. And I know Leonid, we know together already for a while. And we've actually done a project in Ukraine with you also. We've supported one of your projects.
Thank you.
Yes, and I mean, Bidenomics hit us hard in the last 2 years, but it's getting better. So, or hopefully it'll get better this year for sure. So we want to do more.
Thank you for coming,
Yes.
Peter. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Please.
Я не говорю по-английски, можно перевод?
Только громко.
Hello, my name is Helen. Я из Украины.
I'm from Ukraine.
Из города Харькова.
From Kharkiv.
Который сейчас активно терпит.
Right now it's actively persevering.
Да. 8 лет мы жили в Европе.
For 7 years I lived in Europe.
И 8 лет мы служили для украинцев.
And we have served
в Европе.
Ukrainians in Europe.
Когда начались боевые действия, мы активно помогали беженцам, потому
When the
что
war started, we actively helped refugees.
мы просто каждое утро ездили и встречали поезда, которые ехали с
Every
Украины.
morning we would go to the train stations to meet the incoming people.
Мы видели этих людей, которые провели несколько недель в этих подземных
We saw the people
убежищах.
who spent time in basements.
Они были все простужены, они
They
плакали.
were sick,
Это
they
было
cried.
ужасно. И, слава Богу, нам удалось разместить 150 семей,
We helped
конкретно
150
в Словакии.
families. We resettled them.
И активно
Это в какой стране?
Словакия.
This was in Slovakia.
И много людей пришли к Богу через эту ситуацию.
And many people came to Christ through this.
И церковь наша, мы вели русскоязычную церковь,
We
она очень
were
выросла.
also leading a Russian-speaking church.
На данный момент Бог призвал нас приехать сюда.
Now God called us to be here.
И здесь мы активно развиваем масс-медиальное служение
And here we are
христианского направления.
Christian media service, and Ed over there is
Это мой супруг
husband and
Эдуард.
the main operator. Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much.
Мы тебя пропустим к Андрею, а потом мы вернемся и тебе уже слово дадим. Пожалуйста.
Hello everyone, my name is Andrei. Я приехал в Америку 5 месяцев назад.
I came to the US 5 months ago.
В Украине я занимался волонтерской деятельностью.
In Ukraine, I was a volunteer.
Мы снабжали транспортом военных.
We provided transportation to the military people.
Также доставка гуманитарных грузов.
We also delivered humanitarian assistance.
И еще до войны я активно помогал Виталию в проектах.
And even before the war started, I actively helped and worked with Vitaly in many projects.
И так получилось, что здесь опять мое место.
And it just happened, now we're together again. А где ты сейчас расположен? Where are you based now?
Я живу в Талсе.
I also live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thank you for coming. Thank you all. It seems like we have at least 10 organizations here represented. So after Vitaly's presentation of Ukrainian Week and any questions you might have about that, we'll have some free time where we can network with one another, and again, to respect each other's time. We'll be short, but if you want to linger on, you're welcome to. So now let's turn over to Vitaly.
Yeah. Hello, my pleasure. I'm very glad to see you and invite with you. My name is Vitaly. I have 2 children, 1 wife. We together 25 years. And I'm pastor, Sumy city. It's North Ukraine, very close to Russian border, and coordinator couples national project. First, it's we preach the gospel for more than 5 million Ukrainians for 10 years. Next, it's prayer movement, intercessor for Ukraine, and we united 100,000 intercessors in Ukraine for prayer 24/7. And last time we did advocacy work, advocacy Ukraine, and 3 years ago started Ukrainian Week in Washington DC. It's Christian platform, whereas I'm and big team, we talked about situation in Ukraine, and this film, you see this film, it's our project, and we talked to congressmen, senators, and many people about situation in Ukraine. And I'm author books. I give for us. It's my book, Great God in the Terrible World in Ukraine. And gold, this book send message about spiritual reasons this war, and many miracles what God did now in Ukraine. My English finished. You need to не по-українськи, по-русски. Я перше над усе, я хочу подякувати кожному з вас за ту неймовірну роботу, яку ви робите для України і в Україні.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for that great job that you do in Ukraine and for Ukraine.
Декілька місяців тому я мав дуже важку розмову з мамами в Америці.
A few months ago, I had a very important conversation with mothers in America.
Мами, в яких загинули їх американські сини в Україні, які воювали.
Mothers whose American sons fall in Ukrainian war, were fighting for Ukraine.
Я їм казав наступне, що мій рідний брат зараз на фронті.
I told them that my brother is in the front line in a military in Ukraine.
І він чітко знає, заради чого він там. Він за свою сім'ю стоїть, за своїх дітей, за свою батьківщину.
And he knows quite well why he is here. He's standing for his country, for his family, for his native land.
Він казав, що ваші сини, вони не стоять за свою сім'ю там. Вони померли, загинули за щось більше навіть.
And I told them that your sons didn't die there for their own country. They died for something bigger.
І ми дуже вдячні за те, що американський народ він разом в Україні.
And we are very thankful for the American people are with Ukraine.
Те, про що головне хочеться сказати сьогодні.
This is the most important that I want to talk about today.
Сьогодні вирішальний момент в Україні.
Today is very important moment for Ukraine.
Зараз набагато тяжче, ніж було в 22-му році.
Now it's way harder than it was in 2022.
Ми не знаємо, чим ця війна закінчиться. Ми віримо, але ми реально не знаємо.
We don't know how this war will end. We still believe, but we do not know.
І ми потребуємо на чудо.
And we're really standing on a miracle, believe in a miracle.
І деколи Бог робить чудо через певних людей в Україні.
Sometimes God creates miracles through certain people in Ukraine.
І сьогодні величезна можливість.
And today is a huge opportunity.
Є у нашій діаспори і у американців тут на американській землі.
For the Ukrainian diaspora and for American people. More and more stand for helping Ukraine.
І ми не просто просимо зараз дайте грошей чи дайте ще щось.
And we don't ask like give us money or something like that.
Ми хочемо бути партнерами зі Сполученими Штатами Америки, з Техасом.
We want to be partners with the United States of America and with Texas.
Але перш над усе нам треба вирішити питання безпеки.
But first of all, we need to solve the issues of security.
Тільки в Маріуполі цивільних людей загинуло більше 100 тисяч.
Just in one city of Mariupol, there were like over 100,000 civilian people were dead.
Сотні міст повністю згоріли, ви їх бачили на екранах.
Hundreds of cities were totally burned down. You could see that in that short movie on the screens.
На сьогоднішній день 700 храмів або зруйновані, або пошкоджені.
It's about 700 church buildings all over Ukraine is totally destroyed or damaged.
І більше 60 пасторів і священників було вбито росіянами.
And more than 60 pastors and priests were murdered by Russians.
Половина з них це протестантські євангельські віруючі.
Half of them were evangelical Protestant. Christians.
І перш над усе це битва духовна,
And first of all, it's a spiritual warfare
тому що в Україні повна свобода
because we have a full scale of freedom in Ukraine
для проповіді Євангелія.
for preaching the gospel.
В Росії навпаки.
It's not like that in Russia.
Я не буду повторювати те, що ви бачили на
I
відео.
wouldn't repeat things that you've already seen in that movie.
І ми би просили просто більше і більше донести до американського народу ту правду, яка коїться в Україні.
So we want to ask more and more to deliver this message, this truth to American people.
У нас є багато проєктів, де б ми могли співпрацювати.
We have a lot of projects where we could work together.
Але зараз потрібне служіння Неємії.
But right now we need the ministry of Nehemiah.
Неємія, він просто будував стіни, систему безпеки в своєму місті і все.
Nehemiah was building the walls, building the security for his own city.
І коли була безпека, тоді прийшло певне пробудження, де читали в народі Біблію, каялись, молились.
And when this security was rebuilt, then they start reading the word and the spiritual revival came.
І декілька речей ми хотіли би запросити і попросити зробити. Несколько вещей, которые мы просили бы вас сделать.
So the few things that we would ask you to do.
Первое. Мы хотели бы пригласить вас на Ukrainian Week, который будет проходить в Вашингтоне, округ Колумбия.
First, we would like to invite you to Ukrainian Week, which is going to happen in Washington, D.C.
Это уже будет 4-й Ukrainian Week.
It's going to be the 4th Ukrainian Week.
Где приезжают конгрессмены, сенаторы, американцы.
The congressmen and senators will come.
И также приезжают лидеры, украинские лидеры.
And it's also Ukrainian political leaders will come.
Где мы ищем возможности партнерства.
And we're looking for the possibilities of partnership.
Есть несколько мероприятий.
There's a few events.
Мы участвуем вместе в Religion Freedom Summit, International Religion Freedom Summit.
We participate together in International Religious Freedom Summit.
Будут множество различных форумов, образовательный форум, лидерство, форум семьи, демографии.
It's going to be a lot of different forums like family, demography, and leadership, and all that.
Украинский молитвенный завтрак.
Ukrainian prayer breakfast.
Экономический форум.
Economical forum.
Пасторский саммит.
Pastor summit.
И гала-динер.
Gala dinner.
Также у нас будет первый раз форум ветеранов.
And the first time we're going to have a veterans forum.
И с Украины приезжает несколько министров, народных депутатов и представителей офиса президента.
It's going to be a few heads of different Ukrainian departments and the representative of presidential office.
И это все организуют верующие люди.
And all that is organized by Christians.
Мы хотим принести в Украину библейскую основу, которая есть в Америке.
We want to bring to Ukraine the biblical foundation that you have in the United States.
И это инструмент для этого.
And this is a tool to do it.
И для построения партнерства.
And for building partnership.
С американскими организациями.
With American organizations.
И мы бы очень хотели сделать партнерами штаты и области в Украине.
And we're very eager to make partnerships, trade partnership between the United States and certain regions in Ukraine, kind of unite them and build a bridge.
И мы хотели бы, чтобы делегации больше приезжали в Америку с Украины и наоборот ездили в.
And we would like more groups to come from the United States there and from there to here.
И последние годы мы видим, что общество в Америке до конца не понимает, что происходит в Украине.
And we can see that the society in the United States mostly don't understand what's really going on there.
Иногда думают, что Украина какая-то очень либеральная, она там продалась либеральной адженде.
A lot of people think that it's so liberal, it's sold out for liberal agenda and things like this.
Но это не так.
But it's not true.
К сожалению, последние 20 лет из Америки приезжали только либеральные силы, которые обучали всяким не очень хорошим вещам.
Unfortunately, in the last 20 years, there were only liberal politicians that were coming to Ukraine and some groups that were doing some teachings and studies and seminars for different groups of people and teaching them not very good things.
И они заразили буквально наше общество, нашу элиту либеральной аджендой.
And they really influenced our elites with a liberal agenda.
И мы верим, что сейчас очень важно, чтобы пришло христианское понимание строительства городов, страны, и университетов и всех институций.
And we believe that it's a good time now for Christian agenda to come to Ukraine about the building of cities, building of the country, building of universities and things like this.
И мы просим 23-24 февраля.
And we ask, it's going to be on 23rd, 24th of February.
Это третя годовщина роковини початку повномасштабного вторгнення.
Third anniversary of the start of the war in Ukraine.
Вы сделать большое молитвенное собрание здесь, где молиться за Украину и где рассказать чуть-чуть больше про то, что происходит в Украине.
To make here a huge prayer gathering where you could pray for Ukraine and also share and tell people what's really going on there.
Может быть, провести совместный молитвенный завтрак Техас и Украина.
Maybe to do a prayer breakfast between Texas and Ukraine.
И максимально донести до нашего дружного американского народа то, что происходит в Украине.
And bring on maximum level information to American people on what's going on in Ukraine.
Леонид говорил, что очень важно еще рассказать про одну вещь.
Leonid said it's important to say about another thing.
Кто, я не знаю, хотел бы даже подарить. Это с Украины.
This is from Ukraine.
Мы привезли молитвословы, где есть молитвы разные за Украину. Если кому-то подарить, можно передать. С помощью них мы проповедовали Евангелие более чем 5 миллионов украинцев.
With this little pamphlet, we were preaching the gospel to over 5 million Ukrainians.
И 120 тысяч людей, которые познакомились с верующими людьми и стали частью церкви.
And 120,000 people met Christians through it and became Christians.
И в год мы можем касаться около миллиона украинцев.
And we can touch like 1 million Ukrainians a year.
И сейчас мы перевели это на польский язык, будем переводить на чешский, чтобы...
And we translated it into Polish language, and we're going to translate it into Czech language too.
Есть целая система ученичества, где мы потом людей приглашаем к Иисусу и в
There is a
церковь.
whole system of discipleship that helps us to invite people to follow Christ after this.
Вот такие вот мысли и предложения. Мы очень бы хотели бы вместе сотрудничать.
So this is the ideas and the propositions, and we would like to work together.
Тому приїжджайте, будь ласка, на Ukrainian Week.
So please come to Ukrainian Week.
24 лютого зробіть цей молитовне служіння.
And do this prayer meeting on February 24th.
Молитовний сніданок.
This prayer breakfast.
І якщо можете прийняти участь в таких точечних проєктах, будемо дуже раді.
Also participate in this small projects and be part of it. If you'd like to, we will be happy about it too.
Можливо, якщо є якісь думки чи запитання, ми розуміємо, що всі зайняті. Час трошки так укорочений.
I would like to apologize. I need to get to the airport, but first of all, thank you for meeting. Thank you for coming here. I would like to follow up, since I'm an architect, the country eventually needs rebuilding, and I think we can engage.
Говорит, что он архитектор, и понятно, что страна нуждается в восстановлении, и он готов быть вовлечен.
I think we can engage our architectural community and in the companies we work with can help in the future how to rebuild the country, rebuild the
Мы
architecture.
можем вовлечь наше сообщество архитекторов в этот проект.
And then we need to continue on the effort to help the orphans because even the war in today, there'll still be a lot of orphans and we want to be part of that
И мы будем
solution.
продолжать помогать сиротам. Мы понимаем, что их уже много сейчас, и может быть еще больше. Мы готовы быть вовлеченными в это тоже.
I will ask my colleague to stay to get more information, but so I apologize.
Коллега останется, чтобы получить
for the
больше
airport.
информации, но
Thank you very much.
ему нужно в аэропорт. поэтому.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, dear friends. Як ми разом, бо ми розпрацювали певну стратегію, як можна розробити більше. Я знаю, що кожен з вас багато допомагає Україні.
We created the whole strategy how we can work to help, and I know that all of you are helping a lot to Ukraine.
Але ми побачили, що нам, багато моїх друзів, віруючих людей посилають контейнери, годують і роблять багато такої ургентної допомоги.
I've seen like a lot of my friends like sending containers full of products and do a lot of other things.
І це така, знаєте, як тушити пожар.
And it's like trying to put down the fire.
Але знов і знов з'являється пожар.
But the fire is coming back over and over again.
І ми бачимо, як так зробити з Божою допомогою, щоб взагалі цих пожарів не було.
And we looking forward to do it the way that this fire wouldn't come back.
І є для цього ціла стратегія, як це зробити.
And there is a strategy how to do it.
В партнерстві зі Сполученими Штатами Америки.
Like to be a partners with the United States of America.
Тому запрошуємо разом це робити.
So we invite you to do it together.
Тому приїжджайте, будь ласка, на Ukrainian Week.
So please come to Ukrainian Week.
Це величезний нетворкінг.
It's a huge network.
Біля 1000 людей в цьому році планують бути.
Over 1,000 people are planning to be there this year.
Наш захід буде проходити в тому самому залі, де буде день тому National Prayer Breakfast.
And it's going to be at the same hall where its National Prayer Breakfast will be.
Може ще якісь думки, чи може
Maybe you have some other thoughts or ideas or whatever.
I have a question. Yes. When we talk to Americans and they ask us about Ukraine, give us some talking points. Tell us 3 things that we should be telling everybody here in America. 3 things. Коли ми з американцями розмовляємо, і вони нас запитують про Україну, що нам їм говорити? 3 якісь, дай нам 3 таких пункти, які нам треба всім американцям сказати.
В частности, когда люди спрашивают о запрете Русской Православной Церкви.
Yes. Первое, что КГБистская русская пропаганда очень сильно работает здесь, в Америке, и пытается извратить понимание, что происходит в Украине.
First is that Russian KGB propaganda is working very actively here in the United States, and they're trying to really pervert everything, an understanding of everything.
И по поводу Русской Православной Церкви.
Talking about Russian Orthodox Church.
Никто в Украине не отменяет ни одной церкви.
Nobody in Ukraine prohibited any churches.
Это как раз русская пропаганда показать Украину вот такой.
It's a Russian propaganda is trying to show Ukraine this way.
Украина издала закон, чтобы не было партнерских отношений с Россией любой конфессии.
There is a law in Ukraine that prohibited any partner relationship with Russian government for any confession in Ukraine, for any denomination.
Потому что те, кто сотрудничает с Россией, у них много КГБистов в рядах священников.
Because those who actively in active communication with Russian government, they have a lot of KGB agents in between their leadership or the press or whatever you call it.
Второе, что Украина – это очень консервативная христианская страна.
Second, and that Ukraine is very conservative Christian country.
З глибинними тисячолітніми коріннями.
With very deep 1000-year-old roots.
Російська імперія, комуністична влада, вони хотіли це змінити, зруйнувати.
And the Russian Empire and especially communist regime in Soviet Union were trying to ruin and change it.
І ми хочемо в партнерстві зі Сполученими Штатами
And we want in a partnership with the United States.
Повернути в кожну інституцію в нашій державі біблійні основи.
Turn every institution in our country back to the Bible values.
І ми хочемо бути партнерами, стратегічними партнерами.
And we want to be partners, strategical partners.
І українцям є що дати Америці.
And Ukrainians have things to give to the United States.
Я думаю, що третина американського інтернету обслуговується українськими айтішниками.
I believe that about a third of all United States internet connections are served by Ukrainians, or people came from Ukraine.
За декілька років ми почали в 90 державних офісах молитовні сніданки.
In the last few years, we started prayer breakfast in 90 governmental offices.
Де ми читаємо Біблію і молимося.
Where we're reading the Bibles and pray.
Україна створила самий великий в світі літак.
Ukraine built the biggest plane in a history of humanity.
Більшість людей в Україні мають вищу освіту.
The most people in Ukraine have a high college degree, like master's degree, especially in engineering and.
Україна має надзвичайно великий місіонерський потенціал.
Ukraine have a great missionary potential.
І українці йшли в Росії зараз 70% пасторів і священиків це українці.
70% of all the pastors and priests in Russia are from Ukraine, Ukrainians.
І це українські місіонери.
It's Ukrainian missionaries.
І ми готові разом з віруючими людьми в Америці, разом проповідувати Євангеліє в мусульманських країнах.
And we are ready to preach the gospel in Muslim countries together with American missionaries.
І я вже не кажу про корисні копалини, літій і все. Економічно ми дуже вигідні для всього світу і особливо для Америці.
I'm not even talking about all this natural resources that Ukrainian soil has, and we could be economically very helpful and very good for the United States.
Але перш над усе нас сьогодні вбивають, і нам треба зупинити цю кроваву бойню.
First of all, we are all murdered these days, and first of all, we need to stop this bloodshed.
Це основні речі.
That's the most important things.
Again, to respect everyone's time, there might be a chance to ask one more question. Other than that, we will be wrapping it up and leave it up to all of us to network. You can come and talk to Vitaly in person or to one another. And thank you so much to each one of you for taking time to come. But yes, we do have a question.
How Ukraine are fighting Russian propaganda here in the United States?
So the question was, how is Ukraine fighting Russian propaganda in the U.S.? Як Україна бореться з російською пропагандою тут в Штатах?
Ми намагаємося, Україні перш над усе дуже складно це робити в Америці. Україні
It's very hard for Ukraine to do it here in the United States.
І ми якраз і просимо українську діаспору і американців почати з цим боротися.
That's why we're asking Ukrainians in the United States and Americans to help with it.
Питання, як це робити?
Do you have a plan? If you have a plan?
Yes. Fix, если у тебе план, був такий мультик. Перше.
First,
Треба познайомитися особисто з кожним конгресменом і сенатором в Техасі.
we need to meet every congressman and senator in Texas.
Прийти до них на прийом.
Come to them for the meeting.
І уділити час, щоб розповісти про те, що реально відбувається в Україні.
And find time to really share about what's really going on in.
Ви маєте на це законне 100% право.
You have 100% right to do it.
Друге, співпрацюйте з кожною церквою тут, в Техасі, ну і в Америці.
Second, work with every church here in Texas and
Максимально донести їм інформацію, що відбувається в Україні.
to deliver the information to them about what's going on in Ukraine.
Третє, стратегічне.
Third is strategical.
Зробити партнерами в Україні церкви, університети, міста, області і почати співпрацювати.
Find the partners as like regions, universities, companies in Ukraine and build their relationship, build connections and then start working with them.
Бо, розумієте, коли ми робимо гарний фестиваль, гарний український фестиваль в будь-якому місті України,
Because when we are doing a nice Ukrainian festival anywhere in Ukraine,
і ми робимо вареники,
and we doing like
і одягаємо вишиванки,
we have our national dress and we do national
це
food.
виглядає дуже красиво,
It looks very nice,
але неефективно.
but it's not effective.
Да, бо я люблю вишиванки, і у вас чудова вишиванка.
Because I love these shirts and it looks great.
І в мене є кілька вишиванок.
And I have a few of them.
Якщо ми одягли ці вишиванки
So we can put them on.
І прийшли до кабінетів конгресменів, сенаторів, губернатора.
But then come to the offices of congressmen, senators and governors.
І ми нічого не доказували, ми подякували перше. І просто так по-людськи дружили і розповіли про те, що відбувається в Україні.
So we came to them and we didn't try to prove anything, but we just thanked them first and then we just try to share what's really going on.
І останнє – це те, що робить мій друг Майк Павенко. Він капелан і в Америці, і капелан в Україні.
And the last thing is what my friend Mike Pavenko is doing, his chaplain here in the United States and in Ukraine.
Він контактує з американськими радіо, медіа.
He's contacting American media.
І приносить їм інформацію, готує статті, і його запрошують виступати на радіо. Розкажи, як там в Україні?
And he bring them articles, he bring them information, and they invite him to speak on the radio. So, because they ask him, tell us what's going on there in Ukraine.
І дуже важливо це робити там, якраз де є американці.
And it's very important to do it where Americans are.
Бо українці всі і так більш-менш за Україну вони чули вже 10 разів.
For Ukrainians, mostly are for Ukraine. They've heard all that stuff for like many times.
Тому тут величезний фронт роботи.
So it's a huge front of work.
Для того, щоб темрява зникла, треба включити світло.
To make darkness disappear, you need to turn on the light.
So you need connections. Is that right?
Вам нужны контакти. Вам нужны контакти. Not me. Я не зможу приїхати в Техас і робити цю роботу.
I cannot come to Texas all the time and do this job. It's only you can do it here.
Как вы работаете с республиканской партией, потому что она приходит сейчас к власти?
Треба дружити з ними.
How do you work with the Republican Party because they're coming to power? We need to be friends with them.
Перше, у нас багато є друзів, конгресменів і сенаторів з республіканської партії.
First, we have a lot of friends, Republican congressmen and senators.
Перший сенатор, якого я особисто віз в квітні 22-го року,
First senator that I was personally
який взагалі офіційно перетнув кордон України,
He was the first who officially crossed the Ukrainian border.
це був республіканець
It was a
Стівен
Republican,
Деніелс
Stephen
від
Daniels
Монтани.
from Montana.
І коли на CNN зі Львова брали в нього інтерв'ю,
And when the CNN took interview from him from
і це був
Lviv,
перший політичний діяч високого рівня, і він говорив з України,
that was the first political actor of a high level who was speaking from Ukraine.
бо офіційний Вашингтон забороняв взагалі їздити в Україну.
And at that time, official Washington prohibited politicians to go to Ukraine.
То навіть на наступний день Джо Байден сказав, і я думаю, що я поїду в Україну.
So the next day, Joe Biden said, "Well, I think I will go to Ukraine."
Але перші були республіканці.
But the first man was a Republican.
Ми мали декілька зустрічей з Майком Джонсоном.
We had a few meetings with Mike Johnson.
Ми привозили Сергія Гачанджи, в якого загинула дитина і 4-місячний синок Тимофій.
We brought the Sergei Garganji, whose wife and 4-month-old kid were killed by
Які загинули 2 березня в Одесі від іранського шахеда.
And they died in March 2nd from Iranian drone.
І замість 15 хвилин ми говорили годину.
And it planned for 15 minutes, but instead we were
Ми
speaking for an hour.
намагаємось побудувати ці відносини.
So we're trying to build this relationship.
Ну із-за того, що є неправильне розуміння України, і
Because of some misunderstanding of Ukraine,
ніби Україна там за демократів, за Байдена, ще за чогось.
like that Ukraine is for Biden and for Democratic Party.
Дуже важливо, щоб місцеві якраз люди
It's so important that local people
будували відносини
would build a relationship
з республіканцями.
with Republicans.
У нас є вага, є друзі, які спілкуються з найвищим рівнем республіканців в своєму штаті, і вони дружать з ними.
We have friends in Ohio State that they have a connections and contacts and friendship actually with the highest level of Republicans in their state.
І коли ті кажуть, розкажіть нам, що в Україні робиться.
And they said, well, tell us what's going on in Ukraine.
І вони в особистій бесіді, коли розмовляють про це, то ті кажуть, ми 80% такого і не знали, і не чули.
And when they start talking to them, they said, like, we didn't know like 80% of what you're telling us now.
Тому будувати відносини і будувати партнерські відносини з Україною.
Build relationship and build a partnership with Ukraine.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Can I add something? I actually want to speak into this. They have been attempting to make the connections for many years now. But what he was saying, that little thing that he mentioned, I want to put emphasis on it. The timing, it was just wrong in many ways because of the political shift here in the U.S. and how everything switched from Ukraine being good topic to Ukraine being not so good topic. So, yes. However, I think that the timing today is perfect because of this shift right now going the other way. So it's a matter, but here's what I want to mention, what he's saying, that we've been trying to, that he's been asking around, but can I just boldly underline that they want to, but they can't do it because there's too much spread out over there. And there are only people, I mean, there's only so much he can do by coming here once and so forth. So the main thing that Dallas specifically, or Texas, has not been able to do, specifically Dallas, is actually have somebody who's dedicated to do that, to lead here in Dallas. Because that's amazing that you have that in Ohio, I mean, other cities and so forth. But whenever this was proposed to many people here in DFW, just in the small circles that I know, and everybody said, great idea. I will be participant, but I'm busy. And the same thing with me. So who's going to do it? Come on, who's going to raise your hand and do it? That's the question.
Yes.
Дивіться. We need to know the structure, how the system is working. This is the problem. Мы должны понимать, к каким ключевым людям обращаться.
Yeah, and we don't have that.
I know because of my location, I know how to do it, но это должно быть вместе, а не просто Dallas Telegraph или они где-то.
Ну, тому ми зараз тут і знаходимося, щоб, і запрошуємо на Ukrainian Week, але делегація від України буде. Сьогодні з офісу спікера парламенту вашого, ми якраз висилали йому на наші прізвища і так далі, хто буде.
There will be a group of, not a president, but a group of Ukrainian politicians going to be on the inauguration of President Trump.
Є. І там, чого ми їдемо? Ну, я можу і по телебаченню подивитися, як це буде, і там буде кращий вигляд. Але питання будувати відносини, спілкуватися, говорити правду. І це ми можемо робити. І українцям тут в Америці треба просто побачити цю перспективу. Є ця можливість. Майк Павєнка, він реально, його робота, вона скерувала навіть вибори в своєму штаті.
Mike Pavanka's work really builded the elections in his state.
Бо була людина, яка була проти України, і вона таку нісенітницю несла російську. І він встав і почав говорити правду на телебаченні, на радіо, в газетах. І він працює на державу, в нього є робота, сім'я. Він робить, просто він зрозумів, що працює краще. Він не займається гуманітарною допомогою. Хоча на початку він висилав військовим все, що треба було. Просто от у нас прохання якраз піднятися сюди. У вас є ці важелі.
Россия регулярно покупает площадь Вашингтон-Пост и других газетах. Что делать для этого Украина?
Everybody's buying the publication of Washington Post and other newspapers.
Я всією інформацією не володію. Дивіться, я можу відповідати виключно за те, що я роблю і наша команда. Я не маю впливу на президента України. Я не маю впливу на керівника Верховної Ради, спікера. Але я знаю, що набагато більший вплив, ніж Вашингтон-Пост, має діаспора в Україні, тут в Америці. Набагато більше. І я прошу пробудитися для цієї стратегічної роботи. Те, що ми не можемо робити, ми не можемо робити. Але те, що ми можемо робити, навіть якщо б діаспора тут скинулась трошечки грошима і купила статтю в Вашингтон-Пост. Чому ні? Зараз чому ми привозимо депутатів Верховної Ради, міністрів? Щоб вони якраз це побачили. Ми робимо те, що ми можемо. Нам деколи кажуть, ну ви ж там скажіть вашому Зеленському. Я кажу, ну він якраз чекає, що я прийду і буду йому розповідати. Тому я за те, щоб ми брали відповідальність за те, де ми можемо робити. І максимально бути в цьому ефективним.
Mostly effective in this. Can I add something more really quick?
Actually, no, sorry. Vitaly has a meeting in Austin at 7 p.m. today, and if he leaves now, he will get there by 7. So you don't really have a lot of time. But friends, I'm listening to this, and I'm wondering if this will serve as a catalyst, if this meeting will serve, can serve as a catalyst for each one of us individually, our organizations, but also all of us corporately, perhaps. We'll work with all of us together to take things to the next level. If we're talking about working with Republicans, I think Texas is the place where that needs to happen. So if not in Texas, then where? So
Oklahoma,
right? I think that's a different country. Sorry.
I think it's both.
But thank you all for coming. If you want to, just for a few minutes, come to Vitaly after this and talk to him, or just linger on and talk to one another. God bless us all and have a wonderful week.
Якщо ви зараз вийдете, ви якраз
Я не знаю, якщо ви